Alright, so we're going to continue with polynomials and multiplying them in your journals. On the right side, we're going to do these 4 and then some more. These are problems that you don't see on your notes, and it's an extension to what you have on your notes. So this first one here, it says 2x minus 7 to the power of 2. Now, I know this is going to be a multiplication problem because when I have an exponent, exponents involve multiplying. Now, what this is telling me to do is to take this and multiply it by itself. Going back to whenever you dealt with exponents last school year, if I had, for example, 4 to the power of 2, that means 4 times 4. I see 4 written twice, and I multiply it. So if I want to do 2x minus 7 squared, I'm going to write 2x minus 7 twice and multiply it. So I have 2x minus 7 and another 2x minus 7. And to show multiplication, I'm going to put parentheses around both. Again, I have to multiply because that's what it means to do. This does not work like the distributive property. You cannot take this 2 and just distribute it to what's inside here. It's different. It's not a number in front of the parentheses. It's an exponent. So now I'm going to take this and just treat it like a binomial times a binomial and just use a distributive property to multiply. So I'm going to start with this 2x right here, and I'm going to multiply by both of these terms in the second one. So 2x times the 2x over here, 2 times 2, and x times x. Again, remember, x times itself is x to the power of 2. I know we talked about adding the exponents. Whenever you have a variable by itself like this, there's an exponent of 1 there. We just don't write it because it's not necessary. Then we're going to multiply the 2x times the next term, which is negative 7. 2 times negative 7 is a negative 14. Attach the x. I'm done now because I have distributed this first term to everything in the second set of parentheses. So now I'm going to multiply everything times this negative 7. Be very careful. This is a negative 7. Again, if I covered up that 2x, that's what that shows me. So when I multiply this number times these, I'm multiplying it by negative 7. So negative 7 times 2x will give me a negative 14x, because negative 7 times 2 is negative 14. And negative 7 times negative 7. In my calculator, I can type that in. It should be a positive 49. Now that I have multiplied, I can look for like terms. Again, when I have 2 terms times 2 terms, that's 2 times 2, so I should have 4 products. 1, 2, 3, 4 products. So now I'm going to combine like terms. The 2 right here with the x's are the ones that I see that are alike. So I'm going to just write down 4x squared, negative 14x minus 14x. That's how I would type it in the calculator. Negative 14 minus 14. Don't type in negative 14, negative 14. Type it in like a subtraction problem. So that'd be negative 28x, and then just bring down the positive 49. There's nothing else you can combine here because the first term is x squared, the second term is x, and the last term is a constant. None of those are alike. So whenever you see a binomial written to a power of 2, you're going to write it twice and then multiply. I'm not going to do 2x squared and write that as 4x squared and then just square this one. I have to write it 2 times and then use the distributive property. So the same thing here. It says x plus 4 to the power of 2. So first thing is I need to write 2 of these. And I'm going to multiply them. So x plus 4 times x plus 4. Take the first term and multiply it by both of these in the second set of parentheses. So x times x, that's x to the power of 2, or x squared. X times 4, that's pretty easy, plus 4x. There's nothing else to distribute this to in the second set of parentheses, so you're done with that x. And now we can distribute the positive 4 to x. That's a positive 4x. And then 4 times positive 4, positive 16. Look for your like terms, and this one is still the middle 2, 4x plus 4x. You're just adding the coefficients. You are not messing with the exponents when you're adding and subtracting, because addition and subtraction only deals with the coefficients. It does not deal with the exponents. That's only when you multiply. So 4 plus 4 is 8, so now I have 8x, and then plus 16. There's nothing else I can put together, because all these terms are not alike. All right, now we're going to take it a little bit further. So let's say I have x plus 2 in a set of parentheses, and then I have 3x squared minus 4x plus 7. Go ahead and write that down in your journal. What I need to do here is the distributive property. Now, I know this is a multiplication problem. How do I know that? Because there's nothing written between these sets of parentheses. So that means I'm going to do what parentheses means, which is multiply. If there had been a plus sign here, then I would just combine like terms. If there was a minus sign, I would distribute the negative and then combine like terms. But there's nothing written between the parentheses, so I'm going to multiply. Now, don't freak out. The rules stay the same. I'm going to take the first term in the first set of parentheses and distribute it to everything in the second set of parentheses. So I'm going to do x times 3x squared first. This one times that one. All right, so that's going to give me 3. X times x squared is x to the power of 3. That would be 3 x's altogether because you're multiplying. Then I'm going to do x times that second term in the second set of parentheses. X times negative 4x. Negative 4, x times x is x squared. Then multiply x times the last one. You don't necessarily have to draw these lines. I'm just showing you this so you can see when you look back at your notes where these products came from. X times positive 7, positive 7x plus 7x. I have taken this x and I have distributed to everything over here. So I'm done with this first term here in the first set of parentheses. Now I'm going to distribute the positive 2. So positive 2 times 3x squared first. Positive 2 times 3 is a 6. Attach the x squared. Then 2 times negative 4x. That's going to give me a negative because 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. Attach the x. And then last 2 times positive 7. That's going to give you a positive 14. I have distributed the 2 to all 3 terms here. So I'm done distributing the 2. There's nothing else to multiply. Again, a real quick check is to see how many terms you had here and how many terms here, and multiply those two things together, and that should be how many products you have. I had 2 things here times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. I should have 6 products. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how I know I'm done multiplying everything I need to when I'm distributing. Now I'm going to look for like terms. So I'm going to start with the 3x to the third power. I don't see any other term that has x to the third power. So I'm just simply going to write down 3x to the third and mark it out. The next thing I have is negative 4x squared. Negative 4x squared does have a like term with it. Over here, I see another x squared. Positive 6x squared. So in my calculator, I'm going to combine these. I'm going to do negative 4 plus 6, which should give you positive 2. Do not change the exponent you are adding right now. You only change exponents when you multiply. So I have positive 2x squared. You should still see that x squared. You're just combining the negative 4 and the 6. Mark those out. Then I have a 7x. 7x is going to combine with the negative 8x because both of those have just the letter x next to it. So in my calculator, I'm typing in 7 minus 8. Not 7 negative 8, 7 minus 8. And it should give you negative 1. So now I have negative 1x when I combine those two. And then the only term I have left here is the constant positive 14. And there are no other constants, so I just write that down. So my answer is 3x cubed plus 2x squared minus 1x plus 14. I'm going to clean it up just a little bit because it's not necessary to write this 1 right here. So I'm just going to put minus x. It's okay if you do, and that's still the correct answer. I just want you to understand when you're given some kind of assessment, the 1, if it's a coefficient, is not going to be written there. So this is how the answer would look on any assessment that you take. So this is the final answer. Down here is another example of what we just did. I have 2 terms times 3 terms. So when I first multiply everything times in here times everything over here, I should have 6 products because 2 times 3 is 6. So there should be 6 different terms I get. I'm going to start with negative 2x. I'm going to multiply it by 5x squared. Negative 2 times 5 is a negative 10. X times x squared will give me x to the power of 3. Then multiply negative 2x times the next term, negative 3x. Negative 2 times negative 3, be careful, is a positive 6. X times x will be x to the power of 2. And then negative 2x times negative 10. Negative 2 times negative 10 is a positive 20. Don't forget to attach the x because that was with this first term here. I don't have to change the exponent because this one did not have an x. Only change the exponents whenever you have the same base, okay, and multiplying. So that's finished with that one. I did negative 2 times all 3 of these. Now I'm going to multiply all 3 of these by negative 7. So negative 7 times 5x squared first. Negative 7 times 5 is negative 35. Attach the x squared. Negative 7 times negative 3x will give me a positive. Because a negative times a negative. 21x. And then negative 7 times negative 10 will be a positive 70. Again, we should have 6 products. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we're going to combine like terms. Starting with this one here, I don't see any other x to the third power. So I'm simply going to write down negative 10x to the third power. I have a 6x squared here and a negative 35x squared here. So when you're typing this in your calculator, you're going to type in 6 minus 35. Make sure you use the minus button, not the negative button. 6 minus 35 is going to give you a negative 29 x squared. Just attach the x squared. You're only combining the coefficients. Then I have a 20x and a 21x. 20 and 21 will give me a positive 41x. Don't change the exponent. Remember, we're not multiplying these, we're adding them. And then plus 70. So this is my final answer. Negative 10x cubed minus 29x squared plus 41x plus 70.